Well, our moms think we're funny.
Hi, I'm Acomi.
Hey everybody, this is Turk 182, also known as Princess Angelina Contessa Luisa Francesca Banana Fana Bobeska the Third. You can call me Turk. Call me Turkey and you die.
My friends call me Turk. Oh my gosh, there's a movie called Porndemic?
Oh yeah, Porndemic is actually kind of awesome.
How have I not known about this?
It's not awesome. It's a bit of a documentary about, as it says here, HIV outbreak.
Oh.
And spoiler alert, it all goes back to porn star Mark Wallace.
Oh. It doesn't sound sexy or fun.
It's not. It really isn't. But it is. It's weird. I missed the very beginning of it when I watched it, so I still have to catch like the first 15 minutes or so. But basically, it's kind of how this HIV epidemic kind of broke out in porn, and three women they contracted HIV, so they start kind of trying to figure out who their partners were with and who they worked with, and it all came back down to one person. And every time they tried trying to get him to test, he wouldn't. Then he submitted a test to them that was obviously doctored. It had the wrong address for the company because they weren't there at the time. It had him listed as a female. A date was wrong on it, and so basically he got ousted and stuff. And then it turned out he really did have HIV, right?
Geez.
But then something else came up and said, no, that report wasn't doctored, right?
He really is a female.
Because there was some kind of weird thing when they were transferring moving the clinic from one location to another, where the they used the old report forms from the place that was being closed, so that's why I had the wrong address on it. And there was something where the whole batch of information from that time, from that day or whatever, everybody was listed as a female and all that kind of stuff. So it really wasn't doctored.
Wow.
And according to that supposed doctored one, he was negative, but he wasn't really technically negative because he did have HIV. It was just that the virus wasn't showing through the testing that they did at the time. It was one test would show one thing, but you had to get another test that was done that would actually show if you had any of the antibodies in your system. Anyway, it was, but he says that he got it from one of the other women. So yes, he has HIV now, but he wasn't patient zero.
Yeah.
It was one of the other women.
Interesting.
It was, and
it still doesn't sound sexy or fun, but it sounds interesting.
It's interesting. It's not sexy or fun. It is interesting. But hearing some of the people in the industry that were around at that time, and they were talking to him. But this guy also was a huge drug addict too, and had gotten into shooting up and stuff, and would disappear for days at a time after a shoot and go get high.
Jeez.
And so it's your credibility is severely shot here, right? Even if that test did come back or whatever, and that was all clear, the fact that you never could find the time to get tested and this and that, and then you submitted this thing, and he one time got in trouble for submitting a test that he had altered the date on. Ugh. And it was anyway. I would say at the end of it all, it doesn't really tell you for sure if he was patient zero or not, but there's enough information there that points to him being, versus the ambiguity that says maybe not, that would kind of really lead you to believe that he was. Huh. But it was interesting. Just kind of me, I find the adult entertainment industry fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, not from I want to get off from a perspective, but just the whole thing of it, just the industry, the lifestyle, what drives people to it, what makes people leave,
Yeah. Oh,
and that sort of thing.
Without the adult entertainment industry, we wouldn't have comics today, so...
Well, I mean, without the adult entertainment industry, we would not have, VHS and we wouldn't have Blu-ray. Because when home video release came out, it was Betamax and it was VHS, right? And Betamax, everyone said, was the superior form, right?
Yeah.
It had better picture quality, whatever. But the porn industry backed VHS, and they started releasing movies on VHS, I think because it was a little bit cheaper or whatever to do, as opposed to Betamax. And this is actually something that's kind of covered in Boogie Nights, which is the change, right? This transition from the 1970s where you had either the actual like film, right, canisters and film to or the 35 millimeters to home release, and that kind of happened in the 80s with the advent of VHS.
Yeah.
So then people didn't have to go to theaters anymore and that kind of stuff. They could watch porn in privacy of their own home. So when the porn industry backed VHS sales as an industry just shot up because now people could watch all these movies in privacy of their own home, and then you didn't have to worry about getting busted or someone seeing you going to a theater or whatever.
Yeah. Then you had to worry about them watching you, like busting you going to a video store. But yeah.
Or hey, you could order them through the mail.
Oh yeah, well that's true. And then you just have to worry about your mailman being a gossipy old bitch.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the other thing was that a lot of that stuff came in like.
Oh yeah, the unmarked packages.
Right. Playboy back in the day, before they switched to the regular, like the clear plastic with just like a white address thing on it, used to ship with a paper like a brown paper like band around it, which still kind of identified it as something, but you didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And they would always say, ships in a plain brown package, right? So you could do that, and people, may not know what it is. But so that's why Betamax tanked and VHS soared. So when it came down to Blu-ray versus HD, the industry waited to see which one porn was going to back.
Yeah.
Porn backed Blu-ray. That's why HD fell and Blu-ray shot up. Blu-ray, though, is an advent of Sony, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right, yeah. So
Sony created Blu-ray. So with Blu-ray shooting up and taking over, that also kind of boosts Sony. Sony's got different, it's compartmentalized. You've got the Sony movies, you got Sony this, you got Sony that, and you've got your like video game divisions for PlayStation. But all that money is still Sony as a huge company. Yeah, yeah. So I would say that it also helped to, with the rise of like PlayStation as the industry's doing well, stock market goes up as a whole, it just kind of feeds everything else too. Yeah. So I find all that kind of stuff really interesting. There's that book that I have upstairs that I've talked about several times. Yeah. It's by Legs McNeil, and I'm going to pull up real quick just so I can get the full title of it. Sure. Because there is a hold on, what's the word I'm looking for? There was a TV series supposed to come out. I remember reading about it, and I was like, hey, I know this. And I don't remember if it ever came out because I don't remember what the TV series is going to be called. But it was actually a story I learned about through this book I have. Huh. And see, Legs McNeil. Here it is. So you can actually find it on Amazon for $20. I actually found a hardback copy. This is paperback. I found a hardback copy at a used bookstore in New Orleans. Oh, wow. It's called The Other Hollywood, The Uncensored Oral History of the Porn Film Industry. And Legs also did he did another book like this, Punk Rock. He did another book. It's like The Oral History of Rock and Roll. Something like, here, Please Kill Me, The Uncensored Oral History of Punk. All right? That's cool. But anyway, and I know we're completely off topic right here. But well, yeah, we haven't even really finished the introduction technically. Yeah. But this is my fault. I pointed out Porndemic, so. Oh yeah, it's because I'm just flipping through channels here. But anyway, in the 80s, there was a big crackdown on porn, which I find this really fascinating too, right? Yeah. There was a big crackdown on porn because the mob had started getting into the porn industry, and there was laws that said that you could not transmit pornographic material between states. Oh, really? And the mob was financing some movies, and then they were making copies of their own movies and selling them. So they would make copies of their own movies. They're distributing them through one thing, but then they're also selling them on the side to other things, right? And so knowing that the mob was involved, the FBI was sending undercover agents and stuff. I mean, because they couldn't catch. And here's the thing: they wanted to catch the mob doing mob shit, but just like Al Capone, they couldn't catch him doing mob shit. So they were trying to catch him on a RICO act or violating indecency laws. Yeah. Which is really interesting to kind of hear about this whole thing. It was and how they would fight, the mob would fight amongst each other and stuff. There's one story about a guy that they would try to burn down this guy's porno theater, and the guy had a pipe bomb, but he didn't set it off, and it went off in the car and blew up. And it was crazy. But anyway, the one FBI agent had gotten into some shit, and then there was a whole story with him and his partner, and it's you have to really read it. And this book goes through like the beginning, starting at like the old what do you call it, nudist club like films, which were done like these kind of documentaries, like inside nudist colonies and stuff. But all the people in nudist colonies were old, ugly, out of shape people, right? Mm-hmm. So these documentaries were actually fake because they replaced them with with young, attractive people with nice bodies, but then they still couldn't even show certain things anyway, and you just see them like walking around or whatever, and then they get more into like the blue movies and stuff. But so it actually starts way back then and kind of goes through, I think, up until like the 90s. Mm-hmm. But anyway, this undercover agent had gotten so deep into his role that
got deep, huh?
Yeah, that once it was done, right? And he was no longer like, on the case or whatever, and they had done everything. He was still carrying around his undercover like identity.
Oh, wow.
He goes into a store one day, leaves his son out in the car who's sleeping, right? Goes in there and starts shoplifting. Gets busted by shoplifting. Instead of showing them his FBI credentials, right?
Yeah.
He gives them his undercover ID, which just fucked him all up. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, wait a minute, you shouldn't even have this anymore. And why are you trying to pass this off as yourself?
Right.
When you get caught shoplifting with your son out in the car asleep? It was just like, wow. I mean, there was supposed to be like a TV series about him and like what he, like, part of like what he did in the porn thing and then this. And
yeah.
Because at one point, he was transmitting some movies. He meets with this like this mob boss and like one of his men. They're in their car. They're traveling. They've got a bunch of porn tapes in the trunk of the car, which is just weird to get busted by the police. They open it like, "What you got here?" Debbie does Dallas. You're going to jail, right? to think that we lived in a time like that, I'd be like, I mean, if you pulled up my computer right now, I'd be like, holy shit, we're putting you under the jail. No, it's not that bad. So anyway, they get pulled over by the police and everything. And they get arrested, and it was just a random, like thing where they got pulled over, right?
Yeah,
it's just a random thing, and but he's like, you got to maintain my identity. Don't bail me out, right?
Yeah.
So he stays in there. He does a couple like days in jail, or whatever, until he's released or whatever, and that kind of stuff. And then like a week or so later, he's called in because the mob boss wants to meet with him. He gets picked up by two guys. They drive him out into a field, right? Give him a shovel and tell him to start digging.
Oh, wow.
And the whole time the guy at the guns him is like, look, just tell us you're an undercover agent, all right? And we'll just go ahead and kill you. We won't make you suffer. We won't torture you. We'll just make it nice and clean and everything. And he said, just if you'll, just be honest with us. And he's like, look, I'm not an agent. I didn't set you guys up. I don't know what happened and everything. That was nothing. It's like, I stayed in jail just like you guys did or whatever, right?
Right.
And they're like, look, just tell us the truth. Tell us the truth, and we'll just kill you. And he's like, guys, and he digs for like an hour and a half, right? And they keep just saying, tell us. And then after an hour and a half, and he doesn't confess, like, okay, you're good.
Wow.
It was like, wow. And there's like all these stories like that in that book.
That sounds super interesting. One
of the other ones that I think I mentioned this to you before, because this one that I've told, it's Annie Sprinkles, and this is during the 80s when like the AIDS epidemic was breaking, and she had a lot of gay friends, and she was watching a lot of her gay friends like contract AIDS and die, and people she had worked with in the industry, and she said at that point, they just assumed that they all had AIDS because they had worked with each other in different things, and then maybe had unprotected sex, outside of like, we've never had sex on film, but we've had unprotected sex outside. She said she would have gay guys that were her friends. These guys were gay guys that they would come over, they would do some coke, hang out, and they'd be like, hey, why don't you invite over like, one of your girlfriends in porn and everything, we can all have sex together. Because they're all on coke, right?
Yeah.
So she assumed that they all had AIDS and never changed her sexual habits. Come to find out, she didn't, right?
Oh, wow.
But the fact that, it was just this assumption, and she just like, I'm going to die. I mean,
that's just a horrible movie.
There are weird, wild stories like that, and just kind of showing this whole, how the industry moved and everything. Then we get into the whole Tracy Lords thing, which I'm not going to talk about. I feel about Tracy Lords. But anyway, it's really interesting. So then watching this pandemic thing and kind of how that HIV crisis hit and stuff, and then kind of ties into some of the stuff in the book. It was just like, wow, that's fascinating, because you hear people talk about that. A lot of people say like porn is not the big happy family they say it is, but it's not a big happy family. But they do see themselves as a family, whether some members are estranged or whatever. They do see themselves as like this like kind of community. Because a lot of them work so intimately with one another and this and that. And it's like I said, it's interesting to kind of read about them and people that get into the business, for whatever reason they get into it and how long they stay and why they continue to do it and all that. So yeah. So I find that all fascinating. But anyway, so yeah, we've wasted a good half hour on me talking about porn, which people
just
like
15 minutes.
Yeah, so
but yeah.
Right.
So welcome to our Moms Think We're Funny.
Yes. Hey, moms, hopefully don't think we watch porn. So we are talking about, and
we're talking about porn right now.
Right, we're talking about porn, but
yeah, no, our topic for today, what is it, Turk?
Our topic for today is about doppelgangers.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, we are talking today about doppelgangers, who, if you guys listen to the first 15 minutes of this podcast, that actually was not me. That was my doppelganger that was talking about porn. Me, like, porn, I don't listen to porn. And I've never had robots either. And I don't remember owning any robots.
No, that was my evil twin, Truck.
Like, I'm Turk 182. You're looking for a Truck 182. It's like, no, Obi-2 owned droids. I'm Obi-Wan. Yeah, I don't remember owning any droids.
Defensive Obi-Wan is the second best character we've ever made.
Yes. So Defensive Obi-Wan is if you watch, A New Hope, and of course after you watch the prequels, when you go and watch A New Hope, and Luke Skywalker brings the droids to him, and is like, these droids, they say they belong to you, and he's like, droids? I don't remember owning any droids, even though like. He knows who R2 is. He uses R2 throughout, like, all of, like, Attack of the Clones, throughout all of, the Sith, Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yeah.
And then he's going to be like, I don't remember owning any droids. And R2 is like, you motherfucker. You motherfucker. It's like, you don't know me? You don't know me?
This motherfucker right here.
It's like...
I love the idea of Obi-Wan, like, getting defensive about absolutely everything. And it's like... Yes, your father, I knew him before he died. I didn't kill him.
No.
He never fought. I certainly didn't cut his legs off and leave him in a pit of lava. Right. No. We were friends.
Yeah, I'm actually going to use... You know how they have the... I was trying to think what the one defense is called. The Chewbacca defense from South Park.
I don't know that one. Enlighten me.
It's like, this is Chewbacca. Chewbacca is a Wookiee, and Chewbacca lives on Endor. Now, why would a 6 foot like Wookiee live on Endor with some 2 foot creatures? That don't make sense. If you believe that Chewbacca lives on Endor, right? It's this whole funny thing, and I'm sure I like butchered it or whatever. But yeah, but next time if I get in trouble with the police, I'm actually going to use the Obi-Wan defense, right? They're like, you told us you weren't there, but you lied to us. You lied to us, Turk. Why'd you lie to us? Well. What I told you was true, from a certain point of view. If it'll fucking work for Obi-Wan, it should work for me. They know me and be like, you're not Obi-Wan Kenobi, you black ass. And like, whoa! When it's become racist.
Whoa!
It's like,
easy.
Is that damn Acomi sold me out again, did he? Okay, I like big butts and I cannot lie, right? That part's true, from a certain point of view. Oh yeah, I love defensive Obi-Wan. He's beautiful.
Oh hey Han, hey, who's the real fool here? Okay, the fool or the person who hired the fool? Huh? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're thinking, huh? Yeah. Oh, I'm a fool. Is that it? Yeah.
I like how
I haven't done anything foolish.
I like how Han Solo is like, so what are you, old man, your little young kid there and everything, who obviously looks like a naive ass farm boy, and it's like,
are you an angel?
It's like you fucking grow. What do you grow? Moisture. Moisture. What do you sweat? What do you? What's a moisture farmer? Anyway, it's like, so you could tell that Luke Skywalker is like, who's gonna fly, kid? You? Yeah, maybe I will. I'm such a bad pilot myself. It's like, oh, come on. Could you be any more green? I'm like, holy shit. You know, so I know these guys are no dick from shit, right?
Right.
But I'm going to impress them by saying, you've never heard of Millennium Falcon? The thing that did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs? What's the Kessel Run? Oh, the Kessel Run is this actual, like, thing, this, like, very special, like, route that you can take to steal stuff from one planet and get it to another planet to process that only smugglers know. You've never heard of that? I'm not a fucking smuggler. Remember green as shit right here? Why don't you try and impress me with that? Really? I mean, you're going to try to impress me with something that no one else would know?
Yeah, it's a real hipster move.
like you're an idiot, and you're an idiot, and you're an idiot. And, okay, sorry, and since while we're at it, right? Right? It's like, we don't serve their kind. What? The droids, we don't serve their kind. Okay, so you don't get.
So you'll still serve me, right?
Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me now think through the 9. What we got the prequels. We got the no. I'm sorry. It's the 10 movies. The prequels, the original trilogy.
Right.
We got the 2 shit ones, right?
Right.
And then we've got Rogue One and Han Solo.
Yeah, so that's 11.
That's 10.
Right? Yeah, you're right. I can't count. I'm thinking 11 because of the holiday special.
Well, if that's the case, we're going to toss in like the Ewoks cartoon and shit like that too.
Yeah, so 13.
I don't know. You got to remember the Droids cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
The 2 made-for-TV movies with Ewoks. One had Wilford Brimley in it.
Yep.
Right? And then you have to include, like, you know, all the other, like, cartoons and everything else there. The Clone Wars cartoon.
Oh, jeez, yeah, I forgot about those.
Yeah,
but those aren't, like, films. But there is the Clone Wars film.
Yes.
I don't know if it was any good. I didn't watch it. I read the book and didn't really care for it. But...
Oh, the animated Clone Wars film.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I would say then you got the Genndy Tartakovsky, like, Clone Wars shorts, which are so freaking awesome.
Those are incredible.
Yeah.
Those I really enjoyed.
Oh, man, fucking General Grievous is the shit in that. Oh, man. So anyway.
So Doppelgangers.
I was just going to say, in all 10 of those movies, have you ever seen a droid drink anything?
Dude, it's been a long-ass time since I've watched any Star Wars film.
C-3PO takes a hot oil bath, which is still just kind of weird, right?
A little bit.
Because, okay, I know how expensive oil is right now, right? And I know how expensive it is, like, okay, you can take a bath or a shower. Because, you know, a bath dries up more water than a shower does because you fill in the tub up with like however many gallons, right? That you're just going to wash down the drain later. Plus, you know, you're actually just rolling around in like the dirt that you've washed off your body, but it's not here nor there.
Steeping in your own filth like a tea bag.
Yes. Wait, we playing Halo? Sorry, no, different tea bag. Okay, so why then would I pump a bunch of oil into this thing just for him to sit his ass in it and then just flush all that down the drain? That's wasteful. But
That's
anyway,
extremely wasteful. Yeah.
So we never see them drink anything. So why are we like, we don't serve their kind? I don't eat shit. We don't serve you good. I don't eat. What is that? We don't serve their kind. Anyway, so doppelgangers, yes.
Yeah.
Do we need to start all over again?
Hey, welcome to Our Moms Think We're Funny.
Hey, this is truck 182.
This is Ikaimo.
Call me. Call me. You can make that work.
I could, yeah.
So anyway, yes, today we're going to talk about Doppelgangers. So the reason that Doppelgangers came about is because we watched the trailer for Us, the new Jordan Peele movie. Yeah. Hey, remember when Jordan Peele was funny?
Yeah, the good old days.
Actually, I don't think Jordan Peele was ever funny. I think that
he was always pretty funny.
I think that all of that was just him, just pushing the boundaries of like, you think this is funny, but actually it's really terrifying if you look at it. And you're like, I bet you if you go back and watch Key and Peele, like, that's some scary shit right there. I laughed at it, but that's some dark humor.
Well, yeah, like the laugh one, where he won't laugh out loud. And so he's like flailing around the apartment and knocking stuff over, and they're like, dude, you're not even making any noise, just laugh. And he finally laughs, and it just like shatters all their eardrums.
Yeah, so
You haven't seen that one?
I have not.
Oh,
I have
that's a
not.
great one.
But we were talking about the dubstep one.
Oh yeah,
right?
the dubstep was
yeah,
fucked up.
Yeah. He's never been funny. He's always just been terrifying under the guise of being funny. That's like when you say some racist shit like we do with Bane, and they be like, but it's just a joke. Like, no, you said some racist shit because you're racist, even though we're not. But
but you know, I would still watch a movie with that racist ass Melly Gibson.
Oh shit, Melly Gibson is my shit. When he was like in Lethal Weapon 2, when he was there with Jenny Glover, he's like, we're bad, you're black, I'm mad. Oh, he is mad. Yeah, so anyway,
the Lord and Savior of all universe, and also Jesus Christ.
Oh, what about some Liam Neesons? So anyway,
okay, but yeah,
so
Us seems like it's going to be an interesting movie.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be kind of frightening.
Looks like it'll scare me, but I scream like a bitch over the mildest of things, as you know.
Oh, what is it? What is that? Is that a Wendigo outside? Oh my god!
That shadow is scary as fuck. Okay.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, there was also something else that we saw that we were talking that made us think of doppelgangers. But when I watched,
we just watched Face Off, which isn't technically doppelgangers, but
but there was something I think earlier before that we were kind of talking whatever. Yeah. But anyway, so I asked Acomi, and I was like, hey. Well, I actually had this. I actually asked my mom first. I was talking to her, right? And I said, if I had a doppelganger, an evil doppelganger, right? I don't think I would want to. I was like, if I had an evil doppelganger, I don't think I'd want to meet him, right? And I was like, what do you think? If I had an evil doppelganger, and she's like, no, no. And I was like, wow, because in my mind, I'm thinking, I already think some kind of fucked up evil shit. So if I had an evil doppelganger, then that means that he is like tenfold me. No. And this isn't like one of those things in the movies where it's like we're so evenly matched that we go both punch each other at the same time. It's like no. Because it's so I was like, I said to Comey, I was like, hey, if you had an evil doppelganger, right? Would you want to meet them or run into them? And your response was?
Without hesitation, I said, I would team up with my evil doppelganger, and we would wreck shit.
And you compared it to what?
To Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Yeah.
And so I responded, paint a house. Because if he's going to go all Tyler Durden and everything, then I'm going to be right there with him as like his right-hand man.
Oh, totally.
Guys, what'd you wish you'd do before you die? Paint a self-portrait. Build a house. And of course, I'm gonna. If I'm gonna pick anybody there, I don't want to be Bob. I like Bob. I don't want to be Bob. I'm gonna be Holt McCall's
right.
character. Just so.
What are you doing? We can't smoke in here.
It's like, I understand. And Death, a member of Project Mayhem, has a name. His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like I would meet my evil doppelganger, and it would be this situation where it's like, quick. Without even thinking, say your favorite dinosaur, Velociraptor. I mean, that's pretty much what would happen.
Who are you, fucking Morse Day?
Guess I don't know.
So if none of you have actually seen the Cinemax show by Mike Judge, yes, that Mike Judge,
Mike Judge,
Tales from the Tour Bus. Season 1 is really good. He does a lot of country western stars. Season 2, he does a lot of funk artists, right? Including Rick James and George Clinton and James Brown. But he also does Morris Day in the Time. And the funny thing about this, going to what you just said, is they were talking about being on the tour bus, and he was like, and they were sometimes like on the tour bus, they'd be watching his VHS porn, which leads back to the other conversation. And there was one that would come on, he'd be like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want it. Was one, and what's weird about it is that in my youth, when you get like someone's got a tape and everything, and it's like I don't really know what it is, but if it's porn, I'm gonna watch it because I'm like 14 years old, right? And
are those boobs?
Yeah. So anyway, it was this one called Sex Wish with Harry Reams, and it's basically like a porn version of Death Wish. And the interesting thing about this is that it's really it's an intense movie. There's a guy whose wife and daughter, I think, are raped and murdered or whatever by this weirdo that runs around like he's got some kind of mental or like sexual problem, whatever. And he wears his like stocking cap over his face and will attack couples and make them like have sex in front of him, and then he kills them.
Wow.
So again, going back to the thing, a lot of people don't realize that back in the 70s, porn wasn't what you think about it now.
Yeah.
It was, they used to make real movies with plots that just had
yeah.
sex in them, right? And that, a lot of them, I'm not going to say we're seeing this like legitimate theater, whatever, but it wasn't the disgrace that it kind of seen as now, where it's like, because a lot of these were, people would watch movies, and because they did have some kind of plot to it, which kind of leads you into a Taxi Driver kind of situation. But anyway, and so this was one of those movies that had this like really heavy plot to it, that had like this kind of like sex and violence kind of thing mixed in, but it really was about this guy in a Death Wish kind of thing, trying to track down the guy who killed his and was killing other people too, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, because I was like, I think I know that movie, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Morris Day was like, he's like, I don't want to watch that, and he turned the channel, and there was the episode of the Flintstones on. And this is what he says. And then there was a pterodactyl flying through the air, right?
Yeah.
And he's the pterodactyl, and he's like, that's some cool shit, that pterodactyl, right? And he's like, and that's where he came up with the song "The Bird" and the dance "The Bird," where you're like, and that's why when he's like, hallelujah, and that's the pterodactyl scream from the thing, and it's like, that's so damn funny, dude.
That's awesome.
That he came up with that from that episode of the Flintstones. But anyway, sorry, go on.
It's a living.
Animal enslavement.
Yeah, no, I really don't think I would be able to tell which of us would be the evil doppelganger, really. Like, if I met my evil doppelganger. It's like, oh wait, you're the good one, right?
Yeah, toxic Morty.
How about a nice handy J? It's you on you, it's not gay.
Chad Lowe. Yes. I guess I better go let the rice cooker out of the internment camp.
But yeah, but that does bring up an interesting question of meeting your evil doppelganger, period, because most of the stuff I've seen with evil doppelgangers, the doppelganger has it in for you. They want to kill you.
Right, because they want your life.
Yeah. Because, I cannot remember the name of the episode. It was the old 60s Twilight Zone. And, this chick, like, keeps seeing her doppelganger while she's waiting at the bus station. And so, like, she's waiting on the bus, and she, like, will look outside and she'll see her doppelganger just, like, walking by, and she starts to kind of freak out. And there's a guy there who's like, oh, yeah, she's obviously trying to reach out to you from the other dimension. You can't come in contact with her. It was a really interesting episode. But I mean, it's Twilight Zone, so it doesn't have a happy ending. But
Right. Well, I shouldn't say that. One of my favorite episodes of Twilight Zone does have a happy ending. And it's, I'm not going to say it's similar to that one, but it's the one where the girl's in the department store and she's looking for a gift.
oh, yeah.
And then, like, as she finds herself basically alone in the department store, but then the mannequins seem like they're, like, following her and stuff.
Yeah.
And they come to life, and that's a really good one.
Oh, man. I love Twilight Zone, dude.
And that episode is really good. And that one has a happy ending.
Yeah, that does.
Well, kind of happy ending.
So semi-happy, yeah. And, like, the one where the chick is super ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that one has a happy ending.
Wait, that one doesn't really have a happy ending.
It has a semi-happy ending. I mean, it's kind of Nazi-ish, but...
Well, we're talking about the one where they're like, we did everything we could. But, yeah.
And, like, they pull the mask off and she's super hot, and they're like, she's so ugly! Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes, and it's just because it's not really a dark episode at all, it's the guy who, like, he tosses a coin into the newspaper bin and it lands on its edge. And they're like, oh, that's a 1 in a million chance, and doing that causes him to be able to read minds. And so it's like, it's got like some semi-thriller elements to it, but it's also got a lot of comedy elements to it because he's reading people's minds.
Oh.
So it's hilarious. So he's just like going through his job and he's just like listening to everybody's thoughts, and he walks by this one chick and he doesn't hear anything. And he just like stops and he kind of steps back and he looks at her and he leans in really close and he just doesn't hear anything and then he just like shrugs and walks on. It's a great episode.
Oh man.
But yeah, like the doppelganger episode of that was really interesting. I recall an old movie, which I mean it's been like 23, 24 years since I've seen this now, called The Lookalike. And it kind of played on this theme as well. But it also had like the twist of it just wound up that her doppelganger was a long lost twin.
Oh.
So it was a pretty interesting twist. I don't remember jack diddly about like 99% of it, but like she keeps seeing this person who looks exactly like her and has the same mannerisms and all that, and she keeps freaking out and it's like, "This is my lookalike. It's my doppelganger. She wants to end me and take my life. She wants to take over my life," and she just freaks out the whole time. And finally, like the woman finally confronts her, and she's like, "Oh wait, that's your last name? Oh my gosh, we were separated at birth. We're twins." So it was that was a pretty interesting movie.
There was a episode of TV show I used to watch called Freaky Links. If you guys have never seen Freaky Links, I understand. I really liked it. It only lasted one season. Of course, it was a Fox show, which meant that somewhere along the way, it just got all fucked around and stuff. And I mean, by the time they aired like the last 2 or 3 episodes, they've been spaced apart by like months, right? But and I'm trying to think, I don't think it made it 2 seasons. I think it only made it like one full season. But anyway, Freaky Links had Ethan Embry in it, who I don't understand why I really dig Ethan Embry. I just do. But he had a twin brother, and his twin brother had this website called Freakins where he would investigate the the paranormal and stuff like that.
Cool.
And he calls his brother up, or his brother calls him, and he doesn't respond right away. But then when he goes to his brother's house, he's died, right? And it's something killed him. Something may be paranormal that he was chasing or whatever. Anyway, and so he keeps the Freaky Links thing going. It was actually it was pretty good episodes. I really dug it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like goofy in some ways and kind of cornballish or whatever. But it was a hour long show, and it was kind of cool. There was like a guy, he was this like crazy old man that wrote this this book about these evil like shadow people that would try to like take over, and you couldn't really see them, but they were there and they would try to take over people and like think like not make them evil, but make them like dark versions of themselves. Anyway,
yeah.
They end up finding out because what happens is the guy dies, right? And then this darkness starts to like take over this town, and they found out that the thing that this guy was writing was real. These creatures really did exist, and the only way that he could keep the evil from taking over was to make people aware of the book, right?
Huh.
But even if they didn't read, make people aware. And so we give them a copy of the book, and even if they didn't read it, the fact that they had it, they had the knowledge kept these demons or these things at bay.
Yeah.
But when he died, he was no longer distributing copies of the book, and then people that had the books were like, "Yeah, this guy's dead and everything. I don't need to hold on to this thing anymore."
It's not a great book anyway.
And they threw him away, and then that allowed this thing. So they had to get in there and like figure out what was going on and how it all worked. In the end, they distributed a copy to everybody like through this like mass email thing.
Yeah.
So everybody in the world has a copy of this book, and instead of like keep sending out copies of this book all the time to everybody.
Yeah.
To keep these things. So it was stuff like that was kind of cool. But there was one with this Tupac like rapper who had been killed filming a music video. And the one guy on his team was like, he's not dead, man. And there's always sightings of him here and there and stuff, and he's not dead. But then you come to find out that he really wasn't dead. He was afraid that it was like some death threats or whatever. He was afraid that his life was in danger, so his manager, somebody, had cooked up a doppelganger for him, right? And then the doppelganger basically took over instead of just kind of being like a double and a bodyguard, or not bodyguard, but to kind of like be like his protection in case someone tried to kill him. They would kill the doppelganger instead.
Yeah,
wanted to take over his
Hitler
life. Huh?
Which Hitler did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Hitler would have lookalikes for his public appearances in case somebody like tried to assassinate him.
Wow, why would you think that? Unless you were like a bad guy. So anyway, so
Yeah, you know, spoiler alert, Hitler was kind of a dick.
kinda. Yeah, he was a fucking asshole. Anyway, so anyway, the doppelganger was trying to take over the guy's life, so he had faked his death and went into hiding, right?
Yeah.
So the doppelganger would stop trying to come after him. But then with all these sightings of him, and this guy trying to track him down because he's like, he's not dead, basically lured the doppelganger to him.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was able to find out where he was. It was kind of a cool episode. So if you can ever find the episodes of Freaky Links, I really dug the show.
I'll have to check it
I thought
out.
it was kind of cool. I'm sure you can find it. I think I saw a at SuperCon, that one guy that had all those like movies and stuff like that. I think he had it, but again, he wanted like $40 for some bootleg DVDs that he probably like recorded off of Canadian television.
Right.
Which a lot of times, if you see that stuff, it's like it'll have like some Canadian television, like like mark over in the corner. I'm like, really, dude, really?
Yeah, that actually happened. Believe it or not, I bought that off of Amazon by accident. I got the entire run of Gomer Pyle for my mom because she freaking loved Gomer Pyle USMC.
Shazam!
Yeah.
What if Gomer Pyle said that and actually turned into Captain Marvel?
Oh, that'd be epic. I would love that to no end. I actually really enjoy Gomer Pyle USMC just because Frank Sutton is a brilliant physical actor. Like he just make like the facial expressions and stuff he makes.
The DI?
Yeah, Sergeant Carter. Yeah, just like his facial expressions and stuff, and just like the way he can actually genuinely look stressed out when Gomer's saying a bunch of dumb shit. It's amazing how convincing he is of just looking like, will somebody please just shoot me? And it's brilliant. I love Frank Sutton as an actor.
So anyway, doppelgangers, right?
Yeah, doppelgangers.
So we see these things, and things, and I'm like, and I thought about it, and again, I was like, if there was an evil doppelganger of me, right, would I want to meet him? And I was like, no, because, and I don't know if my evil doppelganger would want to kill me, but I know that by the nature of him being an evil doppelganger, he's not going to have the same restraints I have.
Yeah.
And I would have to stop him. And I don't think I could. I don't think I could. If he's an evil version of me, and I'm already pretty bad, there is no way in hell I'd be able to stop him. I mean, he would be like the Adrian Veidt of this world.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it would actually be one of those things was like stop me. Do you think I would even make my presence known if there was a way you could stop me? I did that shit 2 hours ago.
I did that shit before I walked in the room.
So I'm like, no, I would not want to meet my evil doppelganger.
I don't think I would have to worry about my evil doppelganger wanting to take over my life. So
I don't think mine would want to take over my life, but I do think that I would have to stop him from doing something horrible.
That's probably true. I just like the typical movie trope of like, oh, I want to replace you. It's like, yeah, I want to replace you. Yeah, just love working that 9 to 5. I mean,
yeah,
just enjoying that celebrity status, crushing all that mad pussy. Yeah, can't wait to take your life over. It's like I'll just be following him around the parking lot, like, please take my life over.
Yeah, I'd probably end up like the Meeseeks to my doppelganger. Like, come on, I just want to die.
Existence is pain.
So yeah.
No, I'm the one who sucks.
Yeah, I would not, because I just like. I mean, because here's the thing. So Bob the Dictator, right? Mm-hmm. So Bob the Dictator, the idea for that came from, if I rule the world. So if I ruled the world, right? It's like, what would happen? And I was like, it was like, it wouldn't be good, man. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be the world that I thought I would be making, because somewhere along the way I would. So okay, I'll put it this way. And, I have very specific rules about, in the event of like some kind of incident or whatever, right? So we were talking about in the previous podcast, we were talking about the mist, right?
Yeah.
So, shit happens. I've got my own plan, right? And I strongly believe, and this is very egotistical, right? and I'll wear that. But I strongly believe that my plan is the best one. Now, I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to, someone, offering advice or, saying, hey, let's, you think about this or whatever, right? But for the most part, if I have a plan, right?
Yeah.
It's been pretty well thought through already. So here's an example. When I got my furniture in, right, my upstairs furniture, right, which was kind of a gift, and then when it came into my house, it was bigger than. So the way my house was, my living room was laid out, it didn't really fit into that layout, and I would have to rearrange my living room anyway, which it looks a lot better now rearranged, so I had to do that anyway, and it opens it up, makes it more space, but at the time, right, when it came in and stuff, it was like, oh, this does not fit at all. And so when I was telling, when my ex came over one day, just hang out, because, we're friends, and I was she was looking at the new furniture, and I was like, yeah, it didn't, I was like, it was bigger than I thought, and it, for this thing, she's like, that doesn't sound like you at all. That doesn't sound like you that hadn't, properly measured and looked and made sure this was going to fit. She's like, that doesn't sound like you at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I didn't really tell her it was like a gift.
Right.
Right. And so it was just like, it was almost like she was, it was almost like she was saying, yeah, I don't think you bought this. It was because it was like, that is you, because I know you and you would not have, made a mistake like that. Right. So when I have a plan, I'm not saying I'm always right or anything else, but when I have a plan, it's because I've thought it through.
Right.
And even sometimes, just because when I say I've thought something through, doesn't mean I have to spend hours thinking about it. It's just like, I think we've talked about this once before. In a heated situation, when something's going on, your mind, you'll come up with a plan of action in 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you only thought about it for 5 seconds. Your mind ran through like hundreds of different scenarios and calculated different things before saying, this is the one that I'm going to go with.
Oh, yeah.
But it did it so fast that you didn't even process it until after the fact. After the fact, when you think about it, you're like, oh, wow. Yeah, it's like, you kind of think about it, you're like, yeah, the reason I acted this way is because this would have been wrong, this would have been wrong, this would have been wrong. You don't see all those scenarios, but you know that this was the only way that made sense. But it all happens so fast, right? So just because I say, I thought about it and everything, doesn't mean I had to sat down and like for days. You could have spent, an hour on it, could have spent like, 5 minutes on it. But, I've thought about how this is going to work.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what I'm going to go with. So...
See, looking at you, I would have thought, like, knowing you as well as I do, I would have thought that you would have a contingency plan to kill your doppelganger if he showed himself.
Well, I haven't had, until recently, I never even thought about it, about needing one. But the thing is, so going to all that is, in the event that, I have to, I come up with a plan of action. So in the event of a zombie apocalypse, I already have a plan.
Yeah.
I have a plan, and if you guys are going to be with me, right, you're going to follow my plan. If you decide you don't want to follow my plan, that's fine. You are welcome to leave at any time you want, right? But if you leave, don't follow me.
Yeah.
You go in the opposite direction of me, right? And if I don't think that I can trust you, I'm going to kill you. Because I can't allow you to possibly jeopardize my life and the lives of those around me, right?
I've had multiple friends tell me that there's no way they would keep me with them during a zombie apocalypse.
And so it's like, and so when I watched it, and I'm actually leading something here. It's taking me a long time to get to it, but when I watched The Walking Dead season 1, right, and what's his name, Daryl, right?
Yeah.
And Daryl shows up, and Daryl and Rick were kind of butting heads, and I'm like, look, I got no use for Daryl, right? I have no use for Daryl, right? Because you're fucking up my plan. Well, Daryl actually turned out to be a very strong character and very useful, right?
Yeah.
So my initial reaction to him, if I was said, look, you need to go your own way, get away from me, or if you're not I'm gonna have to kill you, right?
Yeah.
Would have been a bad one. That would not have been a good choice to make because, like I said, he becomes crucial just because we're not gelling at the time. doesn't mean, so just because I have a plan, I have a strong plan, I'm like, this is going to be my way or the highway, that kind of thing, doesn't mean I'm not open to learning things, but I do have a set plan that says, I can't have you jeopardize these things. Right?
Yeah.
When it comes to a doppelganger, right? And my doppelganger, something like that, or something, let me go back to Bob the Dictator.
Right.
I have a plan of how things are supposed to be and what I want to do. But when you realize that I want to make the world a certain way, but to make the world a certain way means that I have to I'm gonna act this thing. So if I say, I'm gonna rule the world and I'm not gonna allow people to do this, well, that is kind of like, I don't want to say infringing on their rights, or whatever, but that is like changing a bunch of stuff and a lot of things connected to it. You can't just, it's like Christmas tree lights, right?
Yeah.
I can't just take this one light out, right? Just because I don't like it.
Right.
Because it may turn off all the other lights around it.
Yeah.
I may not like that light, but I either need to adjust it in some way or work with it. But just taking it out is not as easy as I'm going to take that out, everything's still going to light up.
Right.
It may not. And so your best intentions may not work out the way you want them to, or the way you believe they would. And that's where Bob the Dictator came from, right?
Yeah.
So thinking about my evil doppelganger or whatever, they would be so bad because they would have a plan, and that plan would be a very all or nothing.
Yeah.
You're either with me or you're against me.
Which means that your evil doppelganger already has thought of a plan to kill you because he already thought of that long ago.
Probably, yes. I would actually say that I wouldn't have to worry about meeting my evil doppelganger because more than likely he would kill me before I even knew he existed.
Yes.
And he would not do it in a way but I want you to know who's dead. Be like, nope. You're a threat and you may stop me from doing what I want to do. And I don't even think he would even take it as one of those things where I'm so much more ahead of you that I'm going to let you live and watch you futilely try to stop me. I think he would be smart enough to be like, I don't want you to even take the chance of trying to stop me.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get lucky, or whatever. Just no, you're gone, So I don't really think I'd have to worry about that. But yeah, my doppelganger is I would not want to meet them at all because they would be. I think looking at them would be like Tote looking into the Ark. I'd just be like, what's that line in True Romance when he's talking to Christopher Walken? And he says, you've never seen evil more singularly personified than in the face of the man that killed you? Yeah, that would be, I think is how that would work out.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I would not want to meet my doppelganger at all.
And I totally would.
Now, my good, so we're talking about evil doppelganger, my good doppelganger, right? The one that's all good.
Yeah.
I'd fucking kill him in a heartbeat. He'd be one annoying ass son of a bitch. Oh my God, I would not be able to take him.
Hi there, I'm Turk, and I'm very happy to meet you.
He would be like Mr. Rogers if he had a consistent sunshine enema. No, you have got to go.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to meet my good doppelganger. My evil doppelganger, it's like you don't have far to go before you hit bottom anyway.
So
it's like, hey, yeah, we should go make fun of little people, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's even better? Little black people, because we all know how you feel about that, right? Not only do they like big butts, right? But they're the perfect height to see them all. I'm surprised that every black person wants to be a little person. Just chop my legs off the knees. Then I'll be in heaven.
Finally.
I won't have to be accused. Are you looking at my ass? That's the only place I can look. I'm sorry. But yes, I was looking. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't listen to the other podcast about Deep Rising, then you probably don't get this. And why I'm calling Acomi a racist.
But if you're remotely familiar with our other work, it shouldn't come as a surprise to you.
That's quite true. So I'm curious though about other people and their evil doppelgangers or doppelgangers in general, right? Like, how do you? I mean, so let's for first, would you want to have a doppelganger, right?
Yeah.
Would you want to have one? And if and if there was one of you out there, whether you asked for it or not, would you be interested in meeting them? If it was an evil doppelganger, if it was a good doppelganger, would you be interested in meeting them? Would you be afraid to meet them? I'm curious how other people would feel,
Yeah.
or even what you think your evil or good doppelganger would be. And again, we're not talking about opposites either. Not like you're like you're a carpenter and I'm not handy at all. We're not talking about like that. We're talking about someone that's like all the evil parts of you, right? Even the ones that you acknowledge, right?
Yeah.
And you say, okay, I know this is evil, but I live with that. Well, that's tenfold in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
the Jekyll side of things, basically.
Yes. I think Jekyll get kind of a bad rap.
Yeah, he was a lot tamer than I would have thought when I read the book.
Right. But right. It's like, they said the Jekyll side of things, it's like, not the opposite, but, just that darker version of you. And that darker version of you may in some ways be that version of you that you really want to be, but are too afraid to be.
Yeah, hence the Fight Club analogy.
Right.
I am all the parts of you that you want to be. I look like you want to look. I fuck like you want to fuck.
I'm smart, capable.
And I'm free in all the ways that you are not free. Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, like, the evil doppelganger, quote unquote, is just like you with no restraints.
Yeah, pretty much.
You with no inhibitions. So yeah.
And God was watching. Sorry.
Oh, but yeah. So yeah, I would definitely be interested in hearing other people's thoughts on it. Really, this would be a topic to like revisit and bring guests on and get like their thoughts.
Oh yeah, I think we'll have to make that thing when we have people on there. So here's another question I'm going to put out there too. If we had evil doppelgangers, would you be interested in meeting either mine or Acomi's evil doppelganger?
Especially if you are a black midget.
Right. Yeah. If you are a black midget,
we are down to having one viewer now.
And he's probably a black midget, and the only reason he's even listening is just because he's like keeping track of like all the times they say shit. But like, I'm gonna write this down.
No, I'm saying
I'm gonna nail you to the wall.
No, I'm saying we had 2 viewers until that point,
right?
And that viewer who just left was a black midget.
So we have completely lost the black midget audience.
Yeah. There we go. That just killed 50% of our demographic. He was like, "Man, fuck this shit."
I was really about to commend you for that because you were like, you see, there goes 50% of our demographic. I was like 50%. There's 2 people, 50%. That's half, right? Because I was thinking, I was like, you would have said something like, and there goes 25% of our demographic, right? And then I was like, but you didn't do that. So I'm like, that's great. And then you were like, and I was like, oh, come on. And then you just threw it out the window. Thank you. And this is what I have to work with every day.
Oh yeah, let's talk about deaf people, Turk. Let's talk about that.
What? They don't know what we're talking about. I'm sorry. Where's that piece of paper that I can write on there? Hold up, it says I'm talking about you. Whooshing sounds. That's it. I'm gonna make a black T-shirt with the word "whooshing sounds" in brackets, and I'm gonna fucking wear that. The cons whooshing sounds, whispering.
Oh god, we've got to start a fashion line now.
Hey, Robert Evans has one. Oh, he's got. If you go on there's a T Public or one of those, he has the shirts that you can buy. He even has one for Doritos Not Dictators and that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
Yeah, I've got to get me a Doritos Not Dictators T-shirt.
Oh,
that'd be
totally.
awesome. And he has another one too. It's like Hot Dogs Not Hitler or something like that. Anyway. So but I was just gonna say the other part of all this is and geez, now you just like you made me just forget what I was gonna say now because you just. Wow, we've just lost all of our audience. And
Yep, there we go.
I don't even think I can stand to listen to our podcast anymore. It's just,
I don't listen to this shit. What are you talking about?
I scroll through them like, no, not that one. No, not that one. Ooh, no, not that one. I can't believe we even uploaded that one. And so it's just like, oh yeah. But yeah, I was gonna be like, oh, right, you're being so sensitive, and
we've just talked for an hour about how I am the evil doppelganger. So.
you know what's funny is that I can't even say that. Like, wait a minute, what'd you do with the Acomi I know? Because this is the Acomi I've always known. Yeah. So I never met the good Acomi. It's always been the evil one. But yeah, so yeah, doppelgangers, and you know, I wouldn't want to meet any of mine. I just would stick with, you know, just what I have right here, and yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So yep, so that's us. That's our discussion of porn stars and doppelgangers, which I guess this should probably be the title of this episode, is porn stars and doppelgangers.
Yeah, like, yeah. Unless I think YouTube might not actually allow you to put porn in the title of your thing.
Prawn stars and doppelgangers.
Prawn stars. There we go. Adult entertainers and doppelgangers.
How about Nrop stars and doppelgangers?
Nrop.
Yeah, Nrop stars and doppelgangers.
Sounds good to me. Okay.
Would you want to meet them? That's what it is. Nrop stars and doppelgangers. Would you want to meet them?
Would you want to meet the doppelganger of an Nrop star?
And I don't even want to know what the evil version. You know, I'm stopping this before we go any further. Be like, yeah, no, but yeah. So that's it for us, and yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah, and like I said, share your thoughts with us too.
Absolutely.
Zang, yo.
Bye.
Did you hear when I paused? After
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.